knows this.
The film begins in a city currently under military authority. A dreadful calamity struck, and the population became infected with a fatal virus, prompting the majority of them to flee to another city. However, their efforts are thwarted by the troops, who order the citizens to remain inside the city. Those who disagree with the military's decision will be put into isolation camps. The next clip depicts a commander named Stone threatening the wife of one of his rebel men named John. Stone discovers that John is assisting others in their escape from the isolation camp. Stone threatens to kill his wife, Susan, if John does not reveal the hiding site of the people who left the isolation camp. Because John refuses to tell him the truth, Stone chooses to murder Susan in front of him. 3 years have passed, and John still can't forget his loving wife. While in hiding, John discreetly practices self-defense in preparation to one day avenge his wife. Then it is revealed that John was once a member of the Special Forces under Stone's command. The Special Forces slaughtered hundreds of residents accused of carrying a hazardous pathogen. The truth is that this virus was simply a diversion from the issues that Stone presented for personal advantage. Citizens had to become victims of his avarice. John, who still has a conscience, passionately condemns his superior's horrific conduct, yet he is labeled a traitor as a result. According to the test results, John was immune to the virus that infected the city. Thus, the medical team planned to create a vaccine from his blood. However, John refused and fought them, eventually escaping from the camp. John is currently hiding in the wilderness. The thought of his wife's death haunts him, and he still feels horrible over Stone killing several innocent citizens. When John is mourning his destiny, he is surprised to see a wounded woman. John instantly takes the woman into his hut. The woman regains consciousness the following day. Her name is Maria. In Maria's body, John discovers a gunshot still stuck. This bullet was fired by armed forces when she attempted to flee earlier. John helps Maria remove it. When it is successfully extracted, John is astonished to discover that it is not a standard bullet. This bullet is a tracking device. Maria drops out when John extracts the bullet from her body. John realizes Maria is being targeted by the Special Forces, and he notices a unique barcode on her wrist. When Maria awakens, John informs her that she can stay at his cabin for a while, but that once she recovers, she must go quickly since John does not want to get in trouble because he is also a target of the Special Forces. 2 days later, some Special Forces personnel arrive at his cabin and inquire about Maria's whereabouts because the GPS directs them to his location, but John ignores them. They intend to explore John's cabin until John incapacitates them, and Maria manages to kill one of them. Maria realizes that John is not an average individual. She wants to know more about John, but he refuses to reveal his identity to her. Roy and Lucy, the Special Forces' 2 superiors, learn of the deaths of their members. They want to report it to their commander, Stone, the person who murdered John's wife at the beginning of the film. Meanwhile, John is busy constructing a fortress in his hiding place. He is confident that additional Special Forces personnel will arrive to retaliate. Later in the evening, Maria opens up to John and explains why she is being pursued by the Special Forces. Maria's DNA is immune to the virus, as is John's, thus they want to utilize her. Maria is hesitant to provide her DNA since she knows that the military forces will only administer the vaccination to specific populations. They will not assist poor folks who are infected with the virus, they will only utilize the vaccination for personal advantage, allowing them to take control of the city. Fate brought her to meet John, who is in the same predicament as her. Maria claims that she was a thief in the past and was imprisoned, but the viral epidemic killed the majority of the convicts and prison guards. Maria lived because she was immune to the virus. The following day, John teaches Maria how to use weapons to defend herself. Shortly after, 3 Special Forces personnel arrive in the woodland. John notices their approach and enters the cabin on purpose to entice them in. When they approach, John instantly shoots them. Unfortunately, Maria is apprehended by one of them, and he orders John to emerge from hiding. John shoots the man from inside the hut, then promptly kills him as he exits. Because 3 of their men have not returned, the superiors decide to deploy more troops to capture Maria. They still don't know that the person defending Maria is John, a former member of their Special Forces and a competent fighter. Meanwhile, John and Maria are preparing to welcome the next troop arrival. John pulls out a weapon he has not used in a long time. John asks Maria to obtain some water from a lake near his hut, but she is abruptly encircled by members of the Special Forces who have just arrived. Assuming their main target has been apprehended, Roy promptly informs Commander Stone. Before he can finish his story, John appears and begins firing at them. John once again saves Maria. Unfortunately, Roy is still alive and quickly tells what has transpired to Stone, requesting that reinforcements be sent. Commander Stone urges his soldiers not to kill Maria but to capture her alive. The assigned troops arrive, and although being captured once, Maria eventually kills the members of the Special Forces. Stone learns about the deaths of his comrades. He quickly dispatches additional troops and orders them to assassinate the individual who has been assisting Maria. The additional troops arrive at John's hut. Gunfights and scuffles break out again, but John defeats the Special Forces because he has a system in place to repel their attacks and is also highly familiar with the terrain. On the other side, the members of the Special Forces appear to have difficulty attacking, and they eventually meet the same fate as the preceding army. Dozens of more troops come. This time, they discover a tunnel near John's hut and promptly report to both the soldiers and Lucy. Maria unexpectedly hides above the passage and shoots everyone until no one remains. The deaths of his troops convince Stone that he needs to modify his plan. He intends to draw John into the tunnel. John is inspecting the situation in the jungle when he unexpectedly finds Roy, an old friend of his. A battle ensues between the two. Roy is a difficult opponent to defeat. John is overpowered by his attacks and he falls several times. Unfortunately, Maria is also apprehended. Returning to John, who isn't truly dead, he stands up and wishes to find Maria. Meanwhile, Roy leads Maria to the tunnel beside the army. John overhears Commander Stone's commands via the transmissions of the dead men. He instructs everyone to congregate in the tunnel, and John rushes there without thinking. He doesn't realize it's a trap created by Stone. John runs into Roy again in the tunnel, and they fight once more. Meanwhile, Stone and his warriors are waiting for Roy at the end of the tunnel. Back to John, who is having difficulty dealing with Roy's fighting abilities, but he manages to survive until, at one point, he overpowers Roy. After successfully killing Roy, John promptly takes Maria out of the tunnel, but the army has already shut the entrance and exit. John and Maria must fight them whether they want to or not. Another shootout begins. John and Maria defeat the Special Forces, but soon after, more troops arrive. In the end, John uses smoke grenades to cover their view. He takes advantage of this opportunity to escape towards the exit. On his way to escape, John is shot by Lucy but survives. Then he and Maria go into a room. He instructs Maria to hide there until it is safe. He will draw the enemy troops out of the tunnel. Unfortunately, Stone and his forces are already waiting for him at the end of the tunnel. John has no option except to surrender. Finally, John confronts his wife's murderer again. Stone finally realizes why Maria is so tough to capture. It's because John has been assisting her. Then Stone asks John where Maria is. Of course, John refuses to inform him, even after being tormented by them. Unable to persuade John to reveal Maria's location, John challenges Stone to a one-on-one combat. Stone, feeling challenged, enthusiastically agrees. In the end, John defeats Stone in front of his soldiers. Stone then instructs his troops to hand him a weapon, but none of them want to because they are fed up with their horrible leader. Stone eventually forces one of his men to hand over a weapon, but he is shot with the gun he is carrying. At the same time, Maria emerges and surrenders. She shows them 2 explosives and threatens to blow herself up if Lucy does not let John leave. Lucy agrees to Maria's request, and she is escorted to the headquarters while John remains in the jungle. Maria had already provided John with a blood sample so that it might be used as a vaccination. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.